Hey folks, Steven Jacob with Strong Dogs. Got a question from one of our friends on IG or Facebook. Basically, their border collie is having trouble with resource guarding during mealtime. So brings out the food, whether during training or just feeding in general. He tries touching the dog gets agitated. So wondering what to do, how can we stop that behavior? Now I tried asking a few more questions, but just haven't heard back. But because it can become a developmental issue into leading even more aggression, decided to make a long form video on it rather than just a short. So with all this being said, we got to understand what is happening here when this is going down. Resource guarding. So I don't know what they are doing during actual training, but if they're poking the dog with a stick or just agitating him, or maybe even thinking they're pushing him around and actually trying to build more drive, he could have absolutely good intentions, but just going about it the wrong way. So I'm not making any presumptions. I am making presumptions, but I'm just also playing devil's advocate because I just didn't get enough information because he hasn't texted back. So there's going to be a lot of ifs and maybes throughout this, but the overall theme is still going to probably be the same. So if the dog is getting agitated during resource guarding, and I've seen these on other people's videos where the dog is trying to eat and they actually are poking the dog with a stick and they're being dumb as fuck. So that is the last thing you want to do. Getting your dog focused, because a lot of people saw my video on Aria and she's focused on the food, and you've seen these other videos too where the dog gets super focused on a ball, or watch any of Nino's stuff and his dogs and his students. You can absolutely see the dog is focused on something. That's not resource guarding. That's just having focus. So I'll go ahead and intercut this video with the uncut version of Aria with the food when she locked onto it. Stand. Sit. Stand. Plot. Stand. Sit. Because for that short, I actually did just pick it up and she was fine. So even during mid-eating, I was able to pick up her bowl and have no issues at all. So with that being said, that is not resource guarding. Resource guarding is actually you try getting that food from that dog. They're either going to growl or bark or bite you, or all the above. So what do we do? And that's where you got to really understand the dog that is in front of you. So you got to think of the dog has two pathways. The dog is going to do something, is going to give a behavior to get the result they want, or they're going to do a behavior that gets an external behavior to stop. Remember, dogs are aversive. They are conflict avoidant. They don't want to do stuff. They're purely survival mode. So say they're in the crate, they keep barking in order to get let out. So there's a behavior that they just kept going over and over, and then they're finally realizing, oh, if I just do this over and over, I get what I want. Okay, their primal instinct is to hunt, search, and kill, and eat. So here's the dog eating, and next thing you know, Papa Bear is coming around, either poking me or doing something, or I think the food is going to be, it's not endless, but it's going to be finite. So I'm going to go ahead and protect it at all costs because I may not eat again. So therefore, I'm going to maybe growl, show some teeth, pump up my chest in order to get that person away from me because I do not like what they are doing in this current moment. Once the dog sees this, be like, oh, all I got to do is show some teeth, bark a little bit, or get a little nippy, and that person stops. So in the context of things, that's how you got to look at what the dog is doing. So with this being said, here's how I would go about it. One, I would go ahead and start hand feeding that dog. You should be hand feeding all your puppies, all your new dogs, whether they're adopted, gifted, rescues, whatever, puppies, hand feeding that dog is going to be crucial. That shows a bond. Okay, that's how the dog helps them realize this guy is the source of my survival and all good things positive, or woman. So hand feed the dog. And I would stop doing anything that you're doing, because clearly whatever you're doing is not working. So hand feed that dog. And if they do want to come out and pump up their chest, show some teeth, bark, whatever it may be, close your hand, but do not stop. You got to pet the dog. Pet the dog. You got to show the dog can relax and eat at the same time. You're not worried about focus. You're not worried about obedience. It's the biggest thing is just getting that dog calm enough to say, okay, the food is going to be okay. The food comes from him. Food plus him equals good things. So hand feed that dog. If it's in the bowl, take it out of the bowl. Hand feed only. Even if you're doing obedience, you can do a couple of things of obedience, but the rest is just coming from your hand. After that, if the dog does show teeth and you're just petting it or want to get closer to it, you have to go through it. You can't back away from that dog. Okay, so something must have happened. So if that dog didn't like something and it showed teeth and that person stopped, that's the euphoric moment, the light bulb moment, the aha is like, okay, that's what I got to do. You can't not back down from that. For example, for whatever reason, I can touch Aria anywhere on her hands, whatever. But if we're on the couch and I'm working on a computer, if I touch her with my feet, I know it's weird. I'm like, yeah, feet pics. You know, I'm not really a dog trainer. I just like to show feet pics on my OnlyFans. It's really, she will start growling at me because it's a new sensation or just somewhere on her. But she will growl at me. But I do not stop. I keep going because I actually want her to do something to say, okay, let's back down. You want to go toe to toe? That's like that scene in, it's like that scene in The Dark Knight Rises when Bane just puts his hand right on that guy's neck and said, you really think you have power? That's what I basically do with Aria. If she growls at me like that I'm on my feet, I don't stop, but I will put my hand there, or sometimes no hand, and I just say, fucking try something. I want you to try something because let's see what happens. Let's play this out. I would love for you to play this out and see what happens, because you may have teeth and, paws. I have 2 hands, 2 feet, and a mouth too. So let's go toe to toe. Let's see who wins this battle. But I do not stop, because if I stop, that means she wins, and that means that behavior is going to get reinforced. You can't stop. So whatever you're doing, if hand feeding her and you start trying to pet her, she may look at you sideways, but that food is more important than whatever is happening. But if she does anything, you cannot stop. Do not back away. Do not pass go. Don't click $200. You have to stay in that moment and make sure she does not win. If she tries something, if she wants to try something, when you close the food, she loses her food, she loses that, and then you just can correct her. You can grab her by her scruff, do whatever, put her on a leash, do what you got to do. But if she wants to try something, protect yourself at all costs. Public service announcement. But you cannot back down. If you back down, it's just going to reinforce that behavior and it's going to get worse. So you got to stop that. So hand feeding is the go-to, and don't stop. And just whatever you're doing with the food, or whatever you're doing with the hand feeding, whatever you're doing, just make sure it's nothing to agitate her. Don't try and think you're trying to build her drive by pushing her around or anything like that. That's not going to build drive. That's not going to build focus. That's not your job right now. There are other avenues and better avenues to do all that. Right now is just getting her to stop getting guarded over her food so there's no more problems. So understand what the objective is currently in your training. Once that settles down, then you can get into the nitty-gritty of building focus on food, toys, and things like that. But it's a border collie. So again, understand what the genetic limitations of the dog is. So right now, not to drift off point, keep it simple. Resource guardians, clearly she didn't like what you were doing. You may have had great intentions, no harm, no foul, but now you just have to backtrack a little bit. So go back to hand feeding, pet her, get her used to saying, this is okay, this is okay. And if she tries something, correct her, and then closed off the source of the food. So she's 0 for 2. But as long as she's being polite and you're just keeping her calm, chill, over time, that aggression hopefully will subside. Okay, good luck. Talk to you next time. Peace.